because I want to know what's going to happen. Bonjour, mi amigos, and welcome back to my channel. Excuse my condition of the face and hair, but sorry if I look a little spooky, a little scary. But I wanted to start this new reading vlog because we're gonna read. We're gonna keep reading. I'm here with my little star blanket that has gotten quite big, and it's quite cozy. It's not done yet, but we'll see how big it gets within the time span of this video, maybe. Who knows? But I have some books that I'm trying to get to before the end of May. Some of them are library books, so I gotta hop to it, or else they will come after me. Also, I started a book 2 vlogs ago, and that one did not get finished. So we're gonna just like hunker down with it. I think I can get it done. So the books that we'll try our hardest to get to in this video are as follows. Yes, we're gonna finish Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton, even if I have to read this funky, clunky little mass market paperback edition. I'm gonna do it. I'm on page 172, and I'm liking it. I just don't like opening it. I don't want to break the spine, and I already have, so I'm upset. And it's talking so much about dinosaurs, which you would say, Ashley Hannah, duh. And I get it, and I like it, but there's a difference between watching a movie about dinosaurs and reading a book about dinosaurs. There is a difference. I have to tell you there's a difference. But when we're not harping on how they genetically engineered these dinos, then I'm having a good time. So I assume that I can just, if I see a saurus, I'm gonna skim that. And I'm going to read actual good plot development and dialogue. So what's happened so far is that we are at Jurassic Park. If you don't know what this is about, it's about this man who decides that he's gonna bring back dinosaurs because he's just feeling like it, and he wants to make a whole park around these dinos, and he just wants everyone to know them for the historically accurate beings that they are. And even if that means that they are vicious, he will have them. And so they bring a bunch of scientists and one mathematician to the island to test it out to see, hey, is this place dangerous? And Mr. Hammond, the person that is making this whole thing go, he's like, they're not dangerous. It's gonna be okay. So yeah, I like the humor. The humor is like, it's what's carrying me through. And it's really interesting because I've only watched Jurassic Park once in my life, and it was when I was a little kid, and I don't remember, I think I really feel like I fell asleep during it. So it's interesting to read this versus what I remember seeing. And yeah, I understand why this got the movie and the subsequent movies and then the spin-off series with Chris Pratt. I understand it. It's good. It's nicely written. Continuing on that adventurous theme, I picked up these 2 library books. So we're gonna go with So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison, which is a vampire book. So it obviously has to be adventurous, right? It's also a horror, which I was not aware of when I picked it up. But oh my gosh, there's a little ghosty on the little library thing. That's so cute. But yeah, this is about a woman who has a husband who, well, okay, the woman also has a best friend. The husband of the woman, what's her name? Let me just tell you. Sloane. It's her birthday. And so her husband, who I believe has been cheating on her, sets up a whole birthday bash with her best friend, and there will be vampires. So I'm intrigued. And if you know me, you know that I love Twilight. These are not going to be the same vampires. These ones will not sparkle or shimmer, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, I feel like right now is the time for horrific novels. I don't know why. I could not tell you why, because it's not Halloween, obviously. it's late May. But c'est la vie. And then the next book that I could get to, this is probably a reach, but I really do want to get to it eventually because it's a library book, is The Game is a Footnote by Vicky Delaney, which is a Sherlock Holmes bookshop mystery series novel. And it's about Gemma Doyle, who has a Sherlock Holmes themed bookshop, and she ends up solving murders because she's really smart. She solves murders in her town in Cape Cod. Cape Cod. And yeah, it's just cozy. It's a cozy mystery, so I love cozies. This is like, I keep forgetting to count. This is either the 7th or the 8th book in the series, so I'm just invested at this point. And this one is about so they go to a historical reenactment museum, and things are starting to move on their own, and so people think it's a ghost. But when Gemma and Jane stumble across a dead body on the property, they're forced to consider an all too physical threat. Okay, so people think it's ghosts, but it's really just a murderer. Can't wait. Ooh la la. I hate how library books are so shimmery. Like, ugh. Okay, there we go. No glare. And then the last book that we could get to in this vlog today is Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman, I believe. And this, I was influenced. I cannot tell you a lie. I was influenced by another booktuber. I think I was influenced by Katie is Reading, I believe. She influenced me, and she said she really liked it, so I picked it up. And I didn't realize it was on Kindle Unlimited, which I was like, I'm sold. If I don't have to pay any money other than my Kindle Unlimited subscription fee, say less. Twist my arm. So this one is about a man named Carl who has found himself in the apocalypse. And he is one of the only people that has survived because there was this, I read the first like 7%, and the inciting incident is that he wakes up because his cat is being a cat, you know? The cat's name is Donut, so that's cute. But the cat is real grumpy. The cat ends up going outside. It's like the dead of winter. There's snow on the ground. He's in his Crocs. Well, he's in his ex-girlfriend's Crocs. And it's a good thing that he leaves his apartment because at like 2:20 something in the morning, an apocalyptic event happens and everyone who was indoors gets squished, flattened, and is dead. And these aliens are here to have them compete in like a dungeon crawling series of events. And you have to go down levels and levels and levels. And it reminds me of, and this is very niche, you have to have played these games as a child or as an adult. Who cares? I don't care. You have to have played Paper Mario, any of those games, because there's always a section, it has nothing to do with the plot really, where you can do this like 100-layer or 100-level trial, and you go in as Mario and you just defeat enemies, level 1, 2, 3, etc., and the enemies get harder and harder. And that's what this reminds me of. So already I'm like, it's appealing to my gaming nature, because I'm not really a cozy gamer. I'm like a Swords, Zelda, Paper Mario in general, gamer. Which, like, there's levels to gaming, I feel like. So there's like cozy, or also this cozy games. And then there's like Grand Theft Auto. And I'm somewhere in the middle. But anyway, yeah, I want to get to this if I can. Anyway, yeah, so let's start the vlog off. We will be doing just reading, probably. And if you are still watching the video at this point, what are you reading? Comment down below what you are reading in this late spring, almost summer point of the year. Let me know. Are you enjoying it? Should I read it? I'd love to know. Oh, but I forgot that I just finished a book. What was it called? It was The Perfect Divorce by Jeneva Rose. So that was a book that was a sequel to The Perfect Marriage. I think that's what it was, which was a book that I read last year. And that book was about a woman named Sarah Morgan who is a lawyer, and she's defending her husband when he gets hit with the accusation of killing his mistress. So she has to defend her husband for killing his mistress, allegedly. And yeah, that book was a very interesting time, and I liked it in the end, and that's what made me go, okay, well, I'll pick up the next book to see what it's about, especially because it's like books like that should be standalones, when they become sequels, I'm just very confused, I guess, because it doesn't make sense to me to have a sequel. Like The Housemaid. I think I also picked that one up from Kindle Unlimited, so I have that one. We might read that one this week. If I feel, because I'm a mood reader, so we might pick it up. But that one is also has sequels. And I'm like, how do these books, how can they keep going? So then I picked up The Perfect Divorce. And it, without spoiling anything, I feel like it's meant to sew up the plot points that were kind of like, what's happening? And it's supposed to make more sense of the first book. What I didn't like about it was a great many things. One, I didn't understand why Sarah was with the person she's with. If you know about the first book and how it ends, you know who she's with. And I don't understand why she's with that person. I don't understand the twist that happens toward the end. It didn't feel like a twist. In fact, it felt like, well, duh. Because, I don't know, there's a certain part of me that's like, it just seemed like a foregone conclusion that this thing was going to happen to this person. This is such a hard book to not spoil. But it also, like, if we're talking about just technique-wise, I feel like Jeneva Rose's, is it a thriller or is it a mystery? One of the two, both. I feel like her books are paced very slowly, and I do not want to read a slow-paced book when it's a thriller or a mystery. I want it to keep on going, keep racing. And it also is one of those books that has a bunch of POVs. And so there was a POV from a sheriff, there's a POV from Sarah, from a bunch of other people in her life. And I just only liked Sarah's perspective because I think she is a genuinely interesting character, and she's done things in her life, but then I don't think she's a bad character either. Like, it's a weird thing, but when we weren't with her, I was pissed. So for all those reasons, I have to give that book like a 2.5 out of 5. So that was a book that I finished I finished it yesterday. I finished that book yesterday while I wasn't filming, so I just figured I would recap you on that. And I've gotten a little bit further into Jurassic Park, and they've now found some animals that they shouldn't have found. So now, like the back of the book says from the Detroit News, frighteningly real, compelling. It'll keep you riveted. I'm riveted now because stuff is about to hit the fan, and I just can't wait. I can't wait. I'm interested now. It's got me. But I will say that the little girl, Lexi, or Lex, what's her name? Yeah, Lex, because there's two kids, and they are Hammond's grandchildren. He invited two kids to the island because he thought that everything was just going to be honky-dory, which Ian Malcolm keeps telling him. He's the mathematician. He's like, chaos theory suggests it won't be a good time. So, like Timmy's great because he's a dinosaur enthusiast, and Lex likes baseball and she is annoying. So she's the annoying part of the book for me, and she just basically got there. But yeah, Ian Malcolm is making me want to be better at math just because he's talking about it in such a like philosophical way. And he mentioned fractals, and one of my teachers growing up, not for school in any kind, but for ballet, she was a big fractal person. So I was like, I've heard of fractals. So yeah, and she did like art with her fractals. Anyway, so I just thought that was interesting. So I am about 304 pages into Jurassic Park, and if I thought that it wasn't going to get better and it was just going to remain a boring book about dinos, I was wrong. I was wrong. It's gotten so thrilling and so gruesome, like reads like a movie. The best bits for me are just reading when Lex and Timmy, or I should say Tim, he doesn't like being called Timmy. When Lex and Tim are just off, because they've been separated, so they're off with Dr. Grant now, and he's just become like a surrogate father for them because there's nobody else with them. And, you know, it's just the brother-sister dynamic, and Lex just being like, she is the thorn in everyone's side because she just ends up coughing at the worst times and just being a pain in the booty. So loving all of this. And we had the iconic don't move because the dinos can't see you if you don't move. They only can see motion. So yep, really enjoying this. And it is a rainy day today, so we'll see what happens. Probably nothing. I might do some baking at some point during the weekend, and then I also might go play tennis at some point this week. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to try to finish this by the end of the day because I only have about 130-ish pages left, so it's doable. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so I finished Jurassic Park and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. And if you'd asked me a couple weeks ago when I first started this book whether I would give it 4 stars, much less finish it, I would have said no to both of those questions. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It posed a lot of interesting questions and thoughts, and the main story was just thrilling after we got past, you know, we know we're going to this island, we know there are dinosaurs, we know it's going to go wrong. So it's just the setup of like how things go wrong. And it's just utterly like gruesome the way these dinosaurs, at least the carnivores, act. And it becomes more, for lack of a better word, scary because the kids are on the island too. So you have this like, that you have to get the kids to safety moment. And yeah, and the whole story with Mr. Hammond and his, he even toward at the very end, he's like, no one could have predicted this. It's not my fault. And this is spoilers for a second. I'm just going to pop the spoiler on the screen. Even after all of the shit hits the fan, he's still like, it was everyone else's fault. The lawyer I had, he was awful. The guy I had to help me, he was awful. Wu didn't know what he was talking about. And so he's like, I'm going to try it again. And that's why I was so happy when the compies get him and they eat him. I was really happy that he perished. Sorry to say. I was also very unhappy that Ian Malcolm died. But yeah, not end of spoilers. And at the end, oh my gosh, at the end, you find out that yes, the kids can go home, but Grant and Sattler, they just have to stay there. I was like, what? That just seems like yes, because the dinosaurs, they were mating and they were breeding, even though they shouldn't have been able to, even though they were supposed to all be females, but they ended up using frog DNA, and the frog DNA made it so that, you know, frogs don't really have a gender, so it was a whole big thing. And so they weren't able to find, they weren't able to know for sure that they'd gotten all the dinosaurs off, or gotten all the dinosaurs to the island and made sure that they had killed them. So they were like, we can't let you go. And so it's kind of like, Grant is this paleontologist, so he should love that he's going to be there forever. And he has no family, really, so he's like, so he's probably the perfect candidate. But Sadler, she has a fiance, I'm pretty sure, in like Chicago or something like that. So that was just wild. But end of spoilers. Something that I really enjoyed looking at was Ian Malcolm's monologues, because he gets really philosophical, even though he's a mathematician. And he talks a lot about how scientists, and I feel the same way, scientists, they go too far. I don't know. I feel like nowadays, and this was back in the, like, you know, not the distant past, but, you know, a recent past. And scientists, like, the whole point of science is to progress so that things are easier. And he makes a point as to like, but we have all of these modern marvels, but housewives are still doing this amount of work. We can't get around the fact that you're still going to have to do some work. You're still going to have these inconveniences. And science, to right now, it just feels like we have so much, and it doesn't, what does it do? Did it help us? Not really. So, and also like scientists in general, some, I'm not saying all, some I feel like play God a little bit. And like that's evidenced with that whole scandal with the direwolves, which they didn't really create direwolves, but why would you feel the need to bring a direwolf back? Why? So I don't know. Thinking that we can take things that are gone and bring them back just because we want to, it's just playing God. And so yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I'm glad that I picked it up, even if I was supposed to read it last year. I'm glad that I finally got through it. So, and now I'm like, I need to read The Andromeda Strain. And I know that I had somebody comment a while back when I first talked about reading this one, and they were saying that I should read The Andromeda Strain, and I was like, if I like Jurassic Park, I will read it. And since I did like Jurassic Park, I will read it. I don't know when, but I will. I'll get to it. Okay, so the next book that we're going to try to get to, also, I'm sorry about my hair. It's doing crazy things and I kind of hate it. We are going to be reading So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison next. But I'm also, where'd the book go? I've also been reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I really like that book. It's wild, and I'd heard that it was wild. The humor to me isn't that extreme because I think I've read worse, but it really does. It gives me Harry Dresden plus The Hunger Games plus Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It gives all of those things combined into one crazy book. So I'm looking forward to continuing that. I think I'm like 22-ish% in. So that's just a book that I'm reading like bit by bit because it's not a library book. So we need to get onto the library books now. So in walks So Thirsty. It's me and my tea. So I haven't read very much, if anything, today, and I don't really want to read too much more, actually. I think I'm kind of tired of reading. So we're gonna read more tomorrow, and all that I really want to do is watch Jurassic Park, but I can't find it for free online anywhere. So that's making me kind of sad. And since I can't find that, now all I want to do is watch Twilight. But I shouldn't watch Twilight yet. I watch Twilight every year for my birthday, and it's not here yet. So we need to wait. We need to hold off. But yeah, I mean, I guess I could read. I guess I could start on Heartless. I'm just not feeling like. Weirdly enough, I'm not feeling like the vampire novel. Although maybe I need to give it a second. I'm only like 20 pages in. I think we've just gotten to the point where Sloane is going to the cottage thing. Like, we haven't even gotten there yet, so it's very early days. And in Dungeon Crawler, we haven't yet gotten to a new level, but Donut the cat is really funny. And oh, we got to a point where we have a little how do you say, an inn, like an inn and a tavern kind of a situation, you know, in video games where there's like a rest stop, a rest point, and it's like a random logoless, like McDonald's fast food kind of a joint. So that's been really fun to read. So if anything, I might pick this back up, but I might also just watch videos on YouTube, or I could watch Psych, I guess. I'm feeling like a TV show of some sort, but I don't know. But yeah, nighty night. So I was saying that I didn't feel like reading last night, and then I ended up reading. That is the best type of lie. Because truly I wasn't feeling like doing any more envisioning of worlds in my mind. But then I was like, I gotta do something before I go to sleep. So that's what I did. I read, and I got to around 35-ish pages into this bad boy. And I think I figured out why there's some kind of block for me with this book. And it's because it happens in the winter. It's like January, which is not this book's fault, because it doesn't know that I'm reading it in the spring, late springtime. It doesn't know. It's not its fault. So I am enjoying it. I think it's very, the conversation that we've already been introduced to with Sloane and her fear of getting older, her disappointment with the way people treat her as she ages. She's only 36 when her birthday comes. This is her birthday trip. She's only 36. That's not old in any way, shape, or form. But she feels that it is. And she's also quite jealous when it comes to Naomi, because you always feel like the grass is greener, but this really is the case for her, because it just seems like Naomi looks so youthful and is so effervescent. She doesn't get drunk. She can drink like a man. And if Naomi doesn't end up being a vampire, I'm gonna be shocked. I don't think it's in the little synopsis, but that's just me guessing and spitballing here. And also we're finding that, you know, recently Sloane is like, everybody who works at this little cottage place is so much younger than me, and yeah, so I wish it was going faster, just because I'm impatient, because I want to know what's going to happen. I want to know when the vampires are going to come in. When are they going to be here? Also, the fact that my hair, I did something different with my hair after I washed it, and it's like, it's looking a little ramen noodly. I'm not loving it, quite frankly. But I also, last night, read to 28-ish% into Dungeon Crawler Carl. And it's a lot, but it's good. It's good. It's good. I liked that they referenced, what was the show? It referenced Gilmore Girls because Donut the cat is just giving names to everybody, and one of the names she gives to some goblins is Lorelai and Rory. So that was really funny, and that's all the update I have for that book. At some point, I do need to update my reading journal because I did finish Jurassic Park, so I need to put that in the margins. And yeah, that's about it. Really nothing too extraordinary happening right now. All right, y'all. Update from me and what is quite possibly the ugliest blankets that I have ever seen in my life. I ended up doing another 2 rounds technically, a brown double crochet and then a single crochet. I don't know why I chose these colors. They do not go together in the slightest, and it's ugly, but it's my ugly blanket. I don't know if I'm done with it. Maybe. I only have about this much brown left, and I have like this much yellow left, and the only color I like in this blanket is the yellow. That has nothing to do with the update. We are updating this morning on So Thirsty. It got really fast paced until it got not fast paced. We're at this little hotel cottage place, and Naomi is one of those friends that's kind of a hot mess, but you love her for it. And Sloane is like the straight man, you know? That's the kind of relationship they have, the duo. And Naomi's like, you need to take life by the balls. And so she drags them to this party from these people that she doesn't know. She just knows that the one guy is kind of hot, and his name is Illy, and he invites them to this party in this really opulent house, but that is kind of derelict. It's a really weird dichotomy, but they end up going to this party, and it ends up being an orgy. And Sloane does not want to be at this orgy, and so she finds herself talking to this guy, and bing bam boom, I'm pretty sure that you can surmise that they turn into vampires. If you didn't know that, sorry. That's the only thing I'll spoil in this book. The thing is, like, the incident that turns them into vampires is like, oh my gosh. And like the way that Sloane is talking to the stranger and her little side quest with this guy is interesting. But when it comes to the rest of the story, I just didn't like it because I don't like the dynamic between Naomi and Sloane. Their dynamic is so annoying, so toxic, so frustrating, because I feel like I know people like Naomi and I just don't enjoy them. So, yeah. And also the vampires in this book are like, they're almost more lame than Twilight vampires, if that's even a thing. Because at least a Twilight vampire will sparkle. At least, you know, like a Swarovski crystal. These ones, they are so lame. They can't even turn into a bat, my goodness. Yeah, and then, oh my gosh. So then we're on this like little trip and nothing happens really, except for, you know, some lives are endangered. And then the very end is just very like, You know, I don't know. I just feel like this was trying to be too poignant and too feminist. And it's just, if you're gonna make a book about vampires, make a book about vampires. Right? I don't know. I'm glad that I picked this up from the library and that I did not buy it because I would want to unhaul it, which is what I'm gonna do when I take it back to the library. I'm gonna unhaul it. But I love the cover. The cover slaps. Like, I would drink that. I would drink that blood. But yeah, it's about their thirst. That's about it. What else are we gonna read? I don't know. I did start a new book. I started a new Kindle book. We're not gonna focus on that book today because that's a Kindle book and I don't have to return it anytime soon. But I did start The Housemaid's Secret by Freida McFadden. It's such a good time, but it's so stupid. So we're reading that, but only slightly. The other book that I should read, where is it? Oh, it's over here. Also, walking around with this blanket on, I now know that it needs to be bigger. It begs. But I feel like I need to get to Heartless now, just because if I don't do it now, when am I gonna do it? Also, it's very on like theme colorway wise with So Thirsty. And yeah, this really needs to be bigger. We need it a little bit, just a little bit juicier, you know? But not bad, not bad. What color should I do next? You can't tell me. This is not filmed in live. In live? This is not filmed live. You can't tell me. You have no say. But before all that happens, what I really need to do is I need to get on my walking pad and walk. And then the world is our oyster. Then I'll probably get into Heartless. Yeah. Ugh, also I'm trying not to ever turn my overhead lights on because they're so very blue white, but I have to. It's getting too caveman dark in here. What was this update for? Oh, I guess last night I was watching The Vampire Diaries because I've never watched it before, and I was like, I'm reading a vampire book, so it seemed like it went hand in hand. The show is like Pretty Little Liars with vampires. That's the tone that it really is throwing off, you know? But yeah, that's the little TV show I'm watching at the moment. I just really wanted to watch it because I love Ian Somerhalder. I was a big Ian Somerhalder Boone on Lost fan, so I was like, let's just get her going. But yeah, I'm trying to decide today if I'm going to do like a traditional summer TBR. We'll see if I do that. But yeah, I'm doing this clip because I'm going to walk. I'm going to get up and walk. That's going to happen. Yes. now time for me to bid you farewell. We have completed another reading week, and I read 3 books, so not too shabby, not too shabby. I was planning on reading different books, but you know, that's what happens when you mood read. If you just aren't feeling it, you aren't feeling it. So I did finish Jurassic Park, which was a lovely time. I didn't expect to like it that much, especially towards the end. I read, what was the next book I read? Oh, I read So Thirsty, which was kind of a disappointment, kind of a flop. It, one, was set in the wrong time for me, like a winter book. I should have known it wasn't going to go over well. But the other thing was that it was just too much of a case where the author was trying to write a compelling story but also get her point across, which is fine, but it was really heavy-handed towards the end, and it just felt plotless, and I hated Naomi. So those were all too many things to go. So I gave it, I think, 3 stars on Goodreads, but it's really like a 2.5, which isn't bad. It's just not the best. I wouldn't read it again, and I'm glad that I got from the library. And then the last book that I read, I said I wasn't going to read this book, and then I ended up reading it. It was The Housemaid's Secret by Freida McFadden. This is just an easy book. It's about okay, I need to figure out what is and what's not a spoiler. Okay, so this is, of course, I guess it's the sequel to The Housemaid, which was a very popular book back in, 20-something, recently. And we're following our housemaid, Millie, who is working for this couple, and there's some stuff that doesn't add up. Basically, Millie the housemaid is up to some shenanigans working for a couple. Some stuff doesn't check out, so she's gonna investigate. So that's that one. That book, it's stupid. The series is stupid, okay? But it was really good. It was really addictive, and once I got past the halfway mark, things just started to escalate, and then it does the same thing. Not really the same thing. It has the same structure as the first book, so if you liked the first book, you will like the second one. And now it's got me wondering, should I pick up the third one? I mean, there's really no downside to it because they're all on Kindle Unlimited, so if you're looking for them there, they are there. And yeah, if you're paying for the subscription, you might as well read a fast-paced psychological thriller. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good 4-star, like, popcorn book. It was very digestible very easily, and it took me, I think it technically took me more than a day, but that's because I wasn't actively reading it. And then the book that I started in this video, Dungeon Crawler Carl, I am like 32-ish, 33-ish% in, and I don't know if I expected to finish this book this week, but I think the novelty of him being in a video game, not in a video game, but him being in an apocalypse video game-esque style world has worn off a little bit. I think the newness has settled in, and now it's like, eh. But I'm going to continue reading it, and I do like the style, and I do like the humor, even if it is a bit rompy. So yeah, I'm going to continue reading that one. Have not finished it yet, but we'll see if I do in the next coming weeks. And I think that the books that I'm going to be reading next are probably going to be fantasy/classics, because I really want to read Lightbringer by Pierce Brown. That is the book that I need to get to because, I don't know, I've just seen people reading it and I'm like, ooh, they keep saying that they're going to be broken, and you know what? I want to be broken too. And so, yeah, I want to read that one next. And I want to read Dante's Inferno next because I figured out how to read poetry. And by I figured out, I mean, I watched a YouTube video describing how to read Dante's Inferno. And the particular video I'm talking about talked about how if you're gonna read his poetry, it's actually not that hard to read. You just have to know how to read it, which is that you don't read it like, how do I explain this? You read it the way you would talk. So the sentences, like when there are commas, you take a pause. you know, etc. And you're not looking for the rhymes. And that just like blew my brain gasket, you know, because I've never been good at reading poetry. So I'm excited to read that. And also it's, people say that it's really hard to read Inferno, but that it's like not accessible. It's too dense of poetry. But if you read it the way you're supposed to and know that it's all allegory and you like look for the symbolism, it's supposed to go better, I guess. And I heard that you're not supposed to pick at it with a fine-tooth comb. You're supposed to read it, and then on further rereads you can dissect a little more. So all of that to be said, I can't wait. I've already read the first 3 cantos and I'm just like, I love it. I love it. So I'm gonna continue reading that. So hopefully that'll be in the next video. And was there anything else I was reading in this video? Oh, I started Heartless and I'm about 30% in and I don't like it. So I'm gonna stop reading it. I just don't like the world. So I don't think that I would like Alice in Wonderland because it's very in the style of Lewis Carroll. And all I know is that Lewis Carroll was on heavy drugs when he wrote Alice in Wonderland. So I think it's too trippy for me. I don't like it. I don't know. Even the retelling, I don't like. And I think that for Marissa Meyer novels, I only like her work if it's plot forward, if it's very adventurous. Like the Lunar Chronicles were a very plot heavy type of a book series. So I think that I only like it when she writes like that. But it's also a YA, so there's also me not being a young adult. So I don't know. There's a great many factors making it so that I don't want to read it, so I'm not gonna. But again, I got that book from the library, so no skin off my nose. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk to you guys about. Those are the books that I read this week, and yeah, if you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe. We're really close to 900 subscribers, so that's cool. And I will talk to you guys again in the next video.